Hi guys, and welcome to a new video for Infinity Kingdom. This is Pyakia from server 49 and I'm going to talk today about countering Fire Marsh. Let's first talk about the Fire Marsh itself. As you see here, I have a Fire Marsh. It's not that strong because my dragon skill, second skill here, is still level 8 and I didn't unlock the dragon talent. But I'm going to talk about the mechanics because Ignitus, the Fire Drake, will cause a true damage, and this number will be for the true damage, and causing burn for further over time. And this skill here, the second skill, will having a chance to increase the crit damage of 3 random units, and the last skill will increasing the crit value and dodge value in additional. Whenever your fire immortal receives a buff, they get 10% extra damage. As I'm going to show you, the dragon talent is going to increase some of the immortal stats as physical attack, physical defense, magical attack, magic defense, and it's going to increase a lot of stats. I'm going to check some of the talents here, increasing the damage for 6%, additional 6% for the burning and the continuous damage. And here increasing the chance by crit damage, the chance will be 91 instead of 90 for level 1, and the crit damage will be increased by 2% here for level 1. So at max level, it will be level 10 here, will be increasing 10% chance, 20% chance for crit damage, 20% crit damage. So it will be totally 70% for crit damage and 100% chance for increasing crit damage for 3 random allied units. This is for talent 1. Talent 2 will be burning target, reduces its physical damage dealt by 6%. This is better for countering like thunder or lightning marsh and earth marsh, because it will reduce the physical damage dealt. The second skill will change the target of this skill to one allied unit with the highest magical attack. So it will not trigger with 3 units, but it will be 100% guaranteed for the allied unit with the highest magical attack by 50%. And I'm sure most of the fire in my server, Fire Marsh's owners, will using this skill because it boosts Embrace-Hu, and Embrace-Hu is the main source of damage in the Fire Marsh. And the last skill will reduce the damage by 80%, but shortens its damage interval to 3 seconds and increases its total duration to 33 seconds. So instead of 12 seconds every 6 seconds, it will be 3 seconds for 33 seconds. But as you see here, the burning will be decreased from 320,000 to 64,000 per once, and stops increasing critical damage, instead increasing the target's attack and defense by 3. So this skill will make the Fire Marsh more defensive, because the skill of the Fire Drake, the continuous damage, will be affecting much more duration. And for the immortals, we have Williams increases the crit rate of all the troops and deal massive physical damage. Hippolyta will deal massive physical damage and prevent the enemy from gaining or stealing 100 energy. Embrace-Hu and the main source of damage will be using Chase, because every magical crit will have 30% chance of causing a magical damage. I will show you some of my arena reports here. Let's see. This is my last arena report. My Embrace-Hu dealt 25 million damage, and the rest of the Fire Immortals here, William dealt 3 million damage, Hippolyta 3 million damage, and the Fire Drake itself dealt over 5 million damage. As you see, my Embrace-Hu almost critting everything, dodging some of one of her normal attacks, but Imperial Fire dealt 10 attempts and 7 of them were critical, the average per one were 1 million, 1,100,000. So 3 of the Imperial Fire were average 400, almost half million, and total 3 of them will be causing 1.5 million. Only 2 of the crit would be much of the 3 attempts, normal attempts. Chase caused like 19 times, 8 of them were crit. So everything here talks about crit. So the best way to counter this fire marsh is 100% using Malice on the other marsh, because Malice reduces the crit rate of all the enemies by 20%. 100% sure any fire marsh will be using weakness. As you see here, I'm using weakness because I want to crit way more better. And to counter weakness, you should counter it by Malice. Also, the other thing here, you should use resist. Resist is a grace skill, and this skill will be at max level, will be reducing 50% of the magical damage for 18 seconds, and you are going to receive half of the magical damage in the first duration of the match. It's going to be 18 seconds, and lots of people will be using here, I think, Jade Barrier. Jade Barrier is here, sorry. This is Jade Barrier, reduces the magical damage received, will be 15% at max level. And when you are receiving magical damage, you have a 30% chance to apply shields to 3 random allied units. Shield absorption will be at max level 300. You can use this Jade Barrier on your support. And this skill is so powerful because it doesn't have any trigger or a limit duration. So whenever you receive a magical damage, you will be absorbing the magic, and its ratio is so high because it's 300, and the magical will be decreased further. And you can also use a defense grace, a defense blessing. This is war blessing, and defense blessing is here. Defense blessing will be decreasing the damage taken by all of your troops. At max level will be 25 for the first 12 seconds. Combined with resist, you can combine them in the same march, it will work. If you can apply those on the same immortal, you will be having 50% chance here and 25% chance here. This will be getting only 25%, and if you got Jade Barrier on your support, Jade Barrier will be activated without having much damage or losses. Also, you can delay, let me see, energy suppression. You can delay the energy regen speed of enemy troops by 50% for 12 seconds. But I don't recommend using energy suppression, same as resist, because resist delays, resist will be decreasing the magical damage, while resist will decreases the energy regen. So if you combine them, the energy regen will not be activated early in the game, and grace will be working without having any damage. So you are going to decrease the energy regen without having any skills casted in the early game, while this skill will be almost going to be deactivated after the skill is going to be activated, the enemy skills. So we can check here the arena attacks. I can show you other reports of my fire marsh. I've been using my fire marsh here in the first. I'm trying to test my fire marsh. As you see here, my fire marsh sold his 3 marshes, even though my fire marsh, I count him as my secondary marsh, not my primary marsh, because I'm using my earth marsh at its max level. As you see, Embrasu also trying to create as much as she can, and the war or the fight ended in 42 seconds. He didn't use here, he used weakness, he used even malice. And let's see another fire marsh. He didn't use weakness here. This fire marsh is not good at all, but let's see. My Embrasu did almost 100% critical damage, almost 100%. As you see, all of my Imperial Fire were 100% critical. Here Chase were 82% critical, Fire Nova 100% critical, Annihilation 80% critical. So this critical will be way more better. As you see, almost 100% critical. The critical damage is so broken here. I'm sure the Dragon skill affected my Empress Wu for increasing the crit, the secondary skill. And another reward. So simply, this is his main marsh is Water Marsh. He didn't use Malais. He used here his aura with Berserk. He didn't use aura here. He used resist. He used Oaken Guard. Oaken Guard is not so good against Fire Marsh, since Fire Marsh only trying to use Empress Wu, and Empress Wu deals a magical damage. As you see here, he didn't use Malais. He only used Berserk here, and didn't use other auras on his water. His water counters. Let me see his trance. Okay. Better ranking. I just wanna check his marsh, how much power he has. Trance. He's not in the higher ranking, I guess, because he doesn't have weakness or Malais on his water, and this is so bad because water beats fire, and he should counter fire by using Malais, because Malais removes 20% of the crit. So he simply lost this fight because his water is so weak against my fire, since he doesn't use Malais, even though he have a 25% additional damage because he is using water against fire. And his earth here beated my fire, even though his earth is not so good because my fire received lots of damage. But my Empress Wu sure did over 10 million damage, and the Fire Drake itself casted over almost 6 million damage. As you see, because he didn't use Malais, I critted a lot. But against this Water Marsh, I was almost 30 million. Sorry, 30 million damage. So if you want to beat Fire Marsh, you should use Malais and use weakness, because if you are using weakness on the fire on the other marsh you are facing, it 100% sure will be water, and water will beat fire using weakness, because water have a 25% additional damage because the element counter. I hope you have learned a lot from this. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me right in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.